Welcome to my Bivariate presentation entitled The Millennial Generation and Political Activity. There has been recent interest in the millennial generation, as seen particularly with the UN High-Level Meeting on Youth that took place in July 2011. The Pew Research Center reported in 2009 that in America alone, there were 50 million young people aged 18 to 28 years old. From this background on the political attention given to this sizable population, I thought that there was ground for further investigation. The research question of this study looks at what factors have strong influence on political engagement among youth. The data comes from the Pew Millennial Survey, and the sample population consisted of Americans aged 18 to 29 years old. The research background on this work comes from different approaches for how to politically engage youth. Flanagan and Levine suggest that increasing formal education leads to more engagement. Salt argues that a higher income is related to more engagement. And McFarland and Thomas write about the role that involvement in community service has. The dependent variable is based on an index of political engagement. The question wording of the indicators used will appear on the next slide, but a summary appears here. The responses are coded so that a high score is given to respondents that perform the most political activity, while a low score is given to those that perform the least or no political activities. As the frequency distribution shows, 69.1% have a score of 2 or less. Here you can see the exact wording of the indicators. A reliability analysis was used. The test produces an alpha score of 0.6655. This score is higher than the minimum threshold value of 0.60, and we may therefore conclude that these questions are related enough to combine into an index. The table here also shows alpha scores if individual indicators were deleted. The scores are all less than the overall alpha score. As such, all 6 indicators appear in the final index. 3 independent variables were studied. The first concerns the level of education completed. The responses from the survey were recoded into the 4 categories seen here. The second variable looks at different levels of income. Responses were recoded into 3 new categories for simplification. The last variable looks at community service. Responses were recorded for how much respondents have or have not volunteered. All 3 hypotheses suggest that higher levels in these independent variables should lead to more political engagement. Here are the results for the independent variable in education. There is a positive though moderate relationship as indicated by the tau C. The chi-square is significant. Looking across the percentages, we also see signs of a positive relationship. Those with a high school education or less appear the least engaged. Engagement increases among those with more education, but only towards moderate engagement. Still, the highest level of engagement does appear among those with a university degree. Here are the results based on income. There's a positive, though weak, relationship as indicated by the tau B. The chi-square is again significant. Looking across the percentages, we again see signs of a positive relationship. Those in the first 2 income brackets are the least engaged. Engagement increases among those with the highest incomes, but only towards moderate engagement. The highest level of engagement does appear among those with the highest income. Finally, these are the results for community service. There is a positive, though weak, relationship as indicated by the Kramer's V. The chi-square is significant. The column percentages again show a positive relationship. Low engagement is reported by those that never volunteer or that usually do but haven't in the last year. Engagement increases among those that have volunteered more recently, but again, they tend towards moderate engagement. Again, the highest level of engagement does appear those that volunteered in the last year. The ANOVA test was included in the syntax for all 3 variables and supports these results. The observed patterns are summarized here. While the scores tend to be low, those with more education, income, or volunteerism all score slightly higher on engagement. The highest engagement scores were found in the highest ranking categories for all 3 variables. To conclude, Based on the measures of association, education has the strongest influence on political engagement. Further research may look at how such engagement influenced millennial responses to the recent American election, including how much they worked or donated to campaigns and their voter turnout rates. Thank you for watching this presentation.